Welcome to the Disco Halal A&R show. First show of this week, the last week of February. I heard that Mercury is no more, not retrograding anymore.
Yes,
So,
it's going direct. It's going direct.
so if you want to blame stuff, blame it on other stuff than Mercury. When shit is hitting the fan. Welcome, Louise. Louise? That's how Louise? What?
Thank you.
You know that your last name is like my first name, but we don't say it the same. Like I write my
Really?
last name, yeah, Chen, but I write it Chen for some reason because of my English teacher when I was young.
Okay.
I went to China one time, and they literally asked me, "Why is this your first name?" And I had to explain. I had two passports on
Yeah.
me. I had European and Israeli passport, and they held me for a few hours. So I need to explain what I'm doing, and I was just transiting like for 2 days because I went to have a gig. I didn't tell them that I'm coming to DJ, but I was like, I'm just transiting. I'm on my way back to, I don't remember where I was, coming back to Berlin or something. So, and it's a very common name in China, so I don't understand what problem. Chen, but still, just a nice
Oh,
anecdote.
yeah. It's like it's one of the most common names. I think. It's some ridiculous statistics where it's like 70% or something. All of Chens and Changs and Chans are all
What does it
from the
mean?
same
I
village.
wonder.
It doesn't mean anything. It's probably the name of like a place and
Yeah.
where that one family then just made loads of babies.
Your father's family is from Taiwan, or your
Yeah.
father is Taiwanese?
Yeah. My father is Taiwanese, so my father's parents were from mainland China and they
Okay.
fled communism to Taiwan. And so my dad and his two older sisters were all born in Taipei.
Sorry, everybody is dissing my stash today. I shaved. It's all right to shave, and my mustache is nice. I'm a grown man. I can have a mustache. I don't support any porn. It's not a porn channel here. With all the respect, people,
I
please.
like your mustache.
Thank you. Please keep it together.
I think I think you have great hair and the mustache complements it very well.
Thank you. And I have also a great hairdresser because he sent me a message now, and he's like, "Next Monday we're opening. What time do you want to come?" Like this was the message, and I was like, "First one in." I was like, "Okay." Um, yeah. Have you been to Taiwan?
Yeah. Since I was 6 months old,
So you've
I've
been
been going like 2-3 times a year since I was a baby. I speak Chinese, and
fluently.
yeah, half my family is there. Like
Which dialect is in Taiwan? It's like Cantonese or
no, everyone
Mandarin.
speaks Mandarin, but they also speak Taiwanese, which is closer to like Hokkien, I guess. Like it's it's its own dialect. It's really weird.
I feel like Taiwan is the best part of China. I mean,
So I mean,
I prefer the Taiwanese food more than any other Chinese based food, if it makes sense.
well, it's a bit controversial to call it Chinese. If that makes sense.
Chinese origin, I guess.
Uh, yeah, if you want.
I
I
mean, it's like a
you,
mix.
I
It's like
think
a
it's
mix.
if to be politically correct, I would say just say Taiwanese food. It's kind of its own thing, and
Yeah.
you know don't say it's Chinese.
No, but I'm just figuring the origins of what is it closer to. If you ask yourself the Taiwanese food, is it closer to Korean
No,
or is
no,
it
no.
closer to Chinese? In the
Well, I mean, the thing is that the same thing. Like most of Asian foods, like of all the continent,
yeah,
is derived from very ancient Chinese food.
yeah,
So
100%. So basically,
China is just so big that it's like, well, where do you determine which is what? Because if you
yeah,
go if you go closer to like Central Asia, like that's also Chinese food, but you know, it's also very close to like Mediterranean
Yeah.
and you know, and Central Asian, Georgian food, like that sort of stuff. It's all very similar, like the Uzbekistan,
Yeah.
Kazakhstan, all, you know, whatever. Clearly, I'm a nerd about that stuff, so I.
Daft
um,
Punk is retiring. Daft Punk is retiring. Did you hear about that?
did we just get lucky?
Oh my god. Did Daft Punk called it quits on Pitchfork? It's not the 1st of April now, right? It's not April Fools or something.
I mean,
The,
what?
the legendary dance duo called it quits after 28 years. It's nice.
Yeah,
I want to give my respects to Daft Punk. Thank you for revolutionizing music and bringing stuff and up until the last album. Thank you for everything. Even the last album was nice, but okay, too pop.
no.
Not cutting edge, but for example, if they would release Discovery today, it's still cutting edge compared to
Yeah.
what you're hearing today, you know, music wise. If they were
Oh
releasing it
no,
now, even
100%.
even Homework, it sounds better than most of the stuff that's coming out.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Anyway, what I wanted to say that Taiwanese, Hong Kong, and like stuff that is like the outskirts of China are
Right.
very they're very the cuisine is very it stands out. You know what I mean? Even
Yeah.
if it's underneath all this, it stands out, and I'm trying to figure how it's is it a kind of a people are running away from the mainland to the edges of it, and they're creating something new. It's like the edges of the food that creates this kind of fusion cuisine
Yeah.
inside of kind of fusion, like a
It,
fusion in itself.
it's like it's two things. So there's the fact that, you know, the Hong Kong specifically, because it was British until 1997,
Yeah,
had access to to a lot more like Western influence and stuff, and a lot more Southern influences. And then, and because it was very mercantile, like they were one of the biggest trading ports
yeah,
already a
of course.
100 years ago. Anyway, so that's kind of like their influence. And then for Taiwan, it's very different because it's well, I mean, it's kind of this. It's the same but different. It was Japanese. It was under Japanese
Yeah,
occupation for 50 years, and then after that, the Chinese, you know, in 49 fled from mainland China to Taiwan. So then it's like a mix mash of that, and then also the fact that it's where it's located. It's an island that's like on. It's semi-tropical, so
yeah,
their resources in terms of like fruit, vegetable, fish, and stuff is very very rich.
yeah,
So they can just make more stuff. Like they can just be more creative. And then after the war in, you know, at the start of the war in Korea, then came the American presence.
hmm,
So they've been westernized. You know, they were westernized much quicker than the rest of China.
yeah.
You know, kind of like Hong
Well,
Kong,
China
they
is
were
big. Yeah.
exposed to the Western and white people stuff, I guess.
Hmm.
So
White people are the cause of everything, probably of all bad stuff.
not
Um,
necessarily bad, but maybe the idea of like fusion and like mixing and, you know,
yeah,
just trying out, just being exposed to like other things, I guess.
I wonder if would you go live in Southeast Asia?
100%. I've already considered moving to Taipei multiple times. I would love to do it, but
I think
you know,
it's that's I think I mean for me Tokyo is the dream,
yeah.
but I mean dream it will become a reality soon, hopefully when they open the borders. But I think in general I just love Asia so much. I just love the buildings. I like this futurism. I like this order. You know, I don't know how to explain, but here
Mm,
feels very random.
yeah,
It's I mean because there is so many people there,
yeah.
there has to be some kind of order, as opposed to Europe, which is or the US, which is a big mess of pile of people. But this is like, and then Europe, which is kind of a village, I guess, a big village. Most of the cities are like,
Mm,
even if it's dense or whatever, it's not kind of, people are not running around too much. It's just cool. I gotta say, it's just very futuristic. It's just cool. So I want to go there, and the food though is probably the best. No matter where you land, it's good food,
true.
and people are different. I don't know how to explain it. And not in a racial way. I'm just like I honestly believe that they have different thoughts than me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like I don't know how to explain it even. I always try to put I have a lot of Japanese friends. I feel that their brain circuits are not the same as my brain circuits.
So I've
I don't
also studied this, and it's all a lot related to the language. So you know how they use symbols,
yeah,
for reading, writing, and all that stuff.
of course.
So
Kanji or
right, so pictograms,
mhm,
but then they also have ideograms. And so when
mhm,
you start learning Chinese or Japanese kanji, which is the same,
yeah,
you realize how they think, like, is very much in the language. So like the
yeah.
code, it's almost like the code of their mentality is in the language.
There's a good joke around it. Of course, I'm sure they're like thinking like dog, computer, face. This is like it's very like kind of rhythmic and not in the way that they have more objectives. I'm guessing than objectives than uh, connection words. How do you say it?
So it's
You know?
actually the opposite. So they have very few verbs. It's quite
Okay.
repetitive. So there are a lot of verbs, but you can always use the same like ones.
Yeah.
But they have so many determinants. So like
Okay.
so you can't say a cup of tea and a spoon. And you
Yeah.
can't use the same a. It's like the a is specific to the spoon, and there's a like a cup that's specific to
Yeah. You just mean
things
the
that
cup.
contain
Ah,
things,
okay.
objects that contain stuff.
Okay.
And for every single, you have to know loads because they're all classified differently, and so you use different determinants. But that says a lot about how they think. So like they don't think of all objects the same. They think some of them have more value because they get to contain liquids. Some of
Yeah.
them have less value because they're flat. Some of them, like to some are like useless.
Yeah.
So there's a specific thing for things that are objects that are useless. And then there's like, you know what
So
I
it
mean?
makes them way more practical than us.
I don't think it's
Them and
that.
us. I don't like these words, but in this, it's
Uh, I don't
are
think
they
it's
more
like.
practical as people? So it makes it less emotional
No, I
or
don't think
less
so.
way to express emotions?
I don't think so. I think they're just as emotional and stuff. It's just like it's just literally a different way of thinking. It's
Yeah.
really like it's just it's just different.
How do you it's I might come out as an idiot, but how do you express emotions when it, I don't know how to explain it. I'm trying to think. If you're reading pictures, let's say it like this: if I would live in a world which I consume the information from pictures,
Hmm.
so I would see a girl, a dog, that means this, or a cow, and I see them in picture. Not it doesn't write. Nobody writes it a cow. It's just a symbol. You know
Yeah.
how do I? How do I speak in symbols also?
Um, well, no, you speak in sounds, and then
Of course.
sometimes no, but I'm not taking you for an idiot. I swear to God, this is going somewhere. So some sounds equate to a word, which equates to a symbol.
Okay.
But sometimes a symbol is just a sound, and it can only be a word mixed with other symbols. Does that make sense? It's
Yes.
like Lego, okay? Some
Okay.
Legos are like alone standing, and
Yeah.
then some Legos you have to build
Yeah.
together
Okay.
so they form an object, right? So it's the same, but with pictograms and
Okay.
with sounds. So, like,
Okay.
so that's why it's such an interesting language, because there's symbolism. They can mean so many things in different contexts,
Do
and
they
it
use it?
depends.
Do they
It
use it to their advantage?
I think they use it to their advantage completely, because, for example, okay, here's a funny example. For holidays, they use phonetics to determine when they're going to do like Valentine's or like Father's Day. So like Father's Day, how you say dad, you say baba, and
Okay.
baba is also sounds like the way you say eight in Chinese. You say
Okay.
ba, ba equals eight. So when you say baba, it's 8 8. So the
Okay.
8th of August is Father's Day.
Huh. Easy.
You know?
Very simple.
So they do stuff like that all the time.
Do you find, I mean, you speak, I'm guessing, English, French, Mandarin, and they ask if you're a trained linguist. But I don't know. She speaks a lot of language. I don't know if she's a trained.
No, my mom was a translator. She's retired now, but she was a translator, which is why I'm so nerdy about that sort of stuff.
So I hit the right nerve, and I didn't even know that. So
Yeah.
no, but I'm wondering, you find it more I don't want to say exhausting. Is it harder to speak Mandarin than to speak English, for example? To explain yourself?
Yeah. Well, because I don't practice my Mandarin enough, and I think in my head, like, my Mandarin is very like childlike. Like I didn't grow more vocabulary, because I
Yeah.
kind of I just know enough to get around and express like basic things, but I couldn't have this. I couldn't, for example, decipher a track and give my detailed, nuanced opinion
Yeah.
and feedback about a track in Chinese, because I've never really had to do it. As I essentially would go and like visit my family and hang out with my cousin and my aunts and stuff. So so I know all the stuff to talk about, like food and how to get around and
Yeah.
how are you doing and how to listen, stuff like that. I understand a lot more than I speak.
Yeah.
So a lot of vocabulary, I don't actually know it, but because of the context, I always understand what's
Yeah.
going on.
Like
And
me in
then,
German.
yeah, ha, see? But
But that's
it's like
one choice.
practice. It's like, I think if I were there for like a year, I would, then my vocabulary would grow, just because I would be exposed to more things and to more situations where I have to find new words and stuff. And then, so that's also why I was like, oh, maybe I should try. But English, I've spoken almost, I think I speak more English than I speak French at this point,
Yeah.
you know?
I speak more English than I speak Hebrew. That's for sure. I have to. Do you think that Taiwan is a welcoming place for foreigners?
Yeah.
Like I don't know about China. I don't remember if it was welcoming or not. I don't think I don't know if I wonder, because I can only compare it to Japan, for example. And I think in Japan, the only people that feel like a foreigners are foreigners themselves. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I mean, the only people that will look at you on the street is other people that look like you. They'll be like, "Oh, you look like me." Oh, okay,
Yeah.
we're both foreigners. We're different.
Yeah.
More than somebody in the street will look at me and be like, "Oh, you're different than me."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
I
think
see
they
what you
think
mean.
in I don't think they think in the same context. When they see somebody that's doesn't look like them, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe again, like, I haven't really gone to mainland China that much, so I don't really know. I really have only really gone
Is
to Taiwan and Hong Kong and
I'll finish the Taiwan talk with, do Taiwan has a vibrant nightlife scene?
yes, it's sick. Like there's like a bunch of clubs. There was a great club called Corner. It's
Yeah.
closed now, but it's generated. But from its existence, it kind of spun loads of like a generation and of DJs and producers and and like other kids that just like love club culture. And so there's like loads of different. There's like a more experimental club as well. That's a bit more like the kind of the Tumblr Fade to Mind, Night Slugs
Yeah.
offsprings, if you know what I mean.
Of
So
course.
more, so kind of crossover trap, experimental, uh, futuristic, weird pop, PC music type club, which is really cool as well. And then there's like, your regular kind of like dive bars that have DJs, and there's the audiophile bars like that. It's just really cool. I guess, because it's so close to Japan, it's like it's been really influenced by that sort of uh, that
We need more
culture.
influences from Japan and less from other places in general. That's what I think. And I think also the fact that it's a dangerous place, weather-wise at least,
Yeah, yeah.
makes it cooler. You know what I mean? It has an edge like Japan, earthquakes, typhoons, same kind of thing. That there is an edge to
Yeah.
it. Whatever, earthquake it's a thing.
Yeah,
But
you become a survivalist. You have a survivalist instinct, I think.
I think that's why Tel Aviv was cool, for example, because it was a dangerous place. When we grew
Mm.
up, I don't know if it's dangerous. It's dangerous by its own inhabitants at this point. Hey, Justin, what's
Hi,
up?
Justin.
Good morning. You woke up early again. What's going on? Are you okay? Is everything
Thanks,
okay?
thanks for tuning in.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Should we listen to
Uh,
some music?
yeah, I hope there is some. People are slow today. Worst case, we can speak. Music.
No, it's
What's
true. It's true.
music?
I'm enjoying
What's
this chat.
music? I'm enjoying it also. And if I ask stuff that you can say, man, you're such a whatever.